Welcome back. Today, the lion's share of this episode is going to be totally dedicated to Iraq and to what's going on in Iraq. As for the second time in a week, thousands of Muqtada Sadr protesters broke into the parliament in the green zone, and Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa al-Kadhimi instructed the police officers, the police troops, to protect the peaceful demonstrators, and asking in the same time the protesters to keep peaceful and not to escalate the situation in Iraq. To shed more light on what's going on in our brotherly nation in Iraq, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone Professor Dr. Hassan Wagih, Professor of Political Science. Thank you very much for being with us, sir, and have a very good afternoon first.
Good afternoon to you.
Sir, how do you see what's going on? And as we speak, we are speaking about thousands of protesters, all who are the allies of cleric Muqtada Sadr. They broke into the parliament, and it seems that this is an open gate. I mean, it's something which is going to continue. How do you see this? Is breaking into the parliament, having this strike, is a solution to what's going on in Iraq on the ground, or there should be other solutions?
Of course, there should be other solutions. Actually, chaos never built a nation state. And I think that, it is sad situation, and it is getting more and more absurd. This statement is really describing what is happening in Iraq, and this the drone lesson, unfortunately, when you this is the consequences and the repercussions of the invasion of Iraq. There is no army, strong army. When you have militias govern a state, chaos is the title of the situation. And I think this is our Iraqi brothers and sisters. It's a civilized country, it's a great country, it's an important country. I hope that they will restore to order, negotiation, good communication, but chaos never built a state. It makes the situation far more worse, unfortunately.
Yeah. Let's quote some of the protesters' sayings. We came today to remove the corrupt political class and prevent them from holding a parliament session and to prevent the framework from forming a government. Is it the way to say no to what they claim as corruption? In other words, do you think that the caretaker Mustafa al-Kadhimi and the cabinet are going to answer their needs and they are going to resign, or this may escalate the situation more and more and may cause vacuum positions and lead the country, unfortunately, and God forbid, to a worse situation?
Of course, as I have listened to your question, I can glean that you are asking about the price of corruption and how to deal with it. I think this would tell us all over the world, especially in the Arab world, that we need the good governance.
Yeah.
Good governance is extremely the title of the hour in a country like Iraq and in other countries, because one of the most important things in good governance is to fight corruption, because when there is corruption, there is no social justice, there is no economic justice, and it affects political life and legal life as well.
True.
So if there is no country and central government that would take the matter into their hand in a fair way, chaos and some other people take the matter in their hand, as we unfortunately see.
This is exactly what I wanted to speak about, also to speak about the very wide statements which were released by the office of Iraq's caretaker Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi, directing the security forces to protect the demonstrators and ask them to keep their protest peaceful. These were the statements which were released by al-Kadhimi's office. How do you see this statement or these orders wise enough to attract the protesters or to drive them once again to the track of negotiations?
Yes, I think the track of negotiation is a correct track to deal with the entire matter. I think that win-win approach is a solution. I think that people who really go for chaos should quit from that kind of track, because this is very destructive track.
Yep. Sir, regarding Iraq, Iraq is such a big country. It's a wealthy country when it comes to oil, such revenues. What's going on these days, and as we see on our screen? Is it once again the conspiracy theory? We should think again about the conspiracy theory, or unfortunately it's the people who till the moment have not learned the lesson, and they should do more to protect their sovereignty and not to let any external intervention demolishing or damaging their life.
Actually, you touched on a very important two concepts in your question, which is whether we are talking about illusionary conspiracy or real conspiracy, and in what way we can deal with the two concepts. When it comes to illusionary conspiracy, that people are on their own guard, they misunderstand each other easily, they put conspiracy and they think of the other as the enemy inside their country, and this is the illusionary conspiracy theory that would result in nothing but chaos and destruction. And the external conspiracy, which is the real conspiracy, yes, Iraq has been exposed to unbelievable challenges. But when it comes to its water, the early conspiracy was on water in Iraq. And as you have seen, the shortage of water, which really made case for all kinds of aspects of life in the country. And also there is a conspiracy by invasion. And I think that the only way to handle this is to have a strong internal front. People should overcome their troubles and their misperceptions and stand together, because the challenges are big, and the challenges, and also, you know, there are, as we have seen, Egypt, Jordan, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, there is some sort of trial to re-establish the Arab system. So I think if you have this vision in mind, this would be far better with internal stability and internal consistency. I think Iraqi should be able to handle these challenges, and the Arab system is trying to lay the foundation for good nation state, and they should have patience, and they should have solidarity so as to confront these unbelievable challenges that face Iraq and other Arab countries.
Well, Professor Dr. Hassan Wagih, Professor of Political Science, thank you very much for your input, sir, and have a very good afternoon. Well, let's watch this detailed report about what's going on in Iraq, and we're going to turn back to speak about the latest news coming from the brotherly Arab nation. Stay tuned.
Iraq's political scene currently remains in turmoil after hundreds of supporters of powerful cleric Muqtada al-Sadr stormed the parliament in protest at a rival bloc's nomination from Prime Minister. Police fired barrage of tear gas in a bid to stop the protesters from breaching the gates of the heavily fortified green zone, but the crowds surged forward and entered the parliament. The protests are the latest challenge for oil-rich Iraq, which remains mired in a political and socio-economic crisis despite soaring global energy prices. Al-Sadr's bloc emerged from elections in October as the biggest parliamentary faction, but was still far short of a majority, and 9-month-on deadlock persists over the establishment of a new government. Crowds wandered around the parliament building, waving national flags, taking photographs, chanting and cheering. Iraqi Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi called on the protesters to immediately withdraw, warning that the security forces would ensure the protection of state institutions and foreign missions and prevent any harm to security and order. Al-Sadr's bloc won 73 seats in last year's election, making it the largest faction in the 329-seat parliament. But since the vote talks to form a new government have stalled, the protesters opposed the candidacy of Mohammed al-Sudaini, a former minister and ex-provincial government. The coordination framework draws lawmakers from former Premier Nouri al-Maliki's party and the Fatah Alliance, the political arm of the former paramilitary group Hashd al-Sha'bi.